Honorable judges, dear colleagues, good morning. I would like to start my presentation with an often quoted saying about education in general. That is, tell me I forget, show me I remember, and involve me I can learn. So, in the following part of time, I will try my best to create a learning centered classroom. My presentation will fall into the following four parts. Part 1, analysis of the learning material. Part 2, learning objectives. Part 3, learning procedure. Part 4, reflection. Now, I'm going to start with part 1, analysis of the learning material. The video course I have watched just now is titled Eco-Friendly Home. It is divided into two parts. Basically, it tells a story of Cohen's house and Robin's eco-friendly house. In Cohen's part, it actually goes with the pattern of problem, presentation, and solution. The problem with Cohen's house is that it uses a lot of energy. And the author also points out that this is not a surprising fact because houses and buildings in the United States actually uses 40% of all the energies. And then comes the problem solver, Amory 11th. He finds the problems are problem with the heaters, the freezers. And he mentions we shouldn't use so much electricity in our homes. So he goes on with how to save energy. Firstly, he mentions people should unplug the home appliances, like turn off the TV and unplug the TV. And that is basically his solution. Okay. He also mentions that if that actually Cohen's house actually spends $60, $60 extra dollars each month because of the energy wastage. Okay, and in the second part, the author mentions Robin's house, which is an eco-friendly house, and this eco-friendly energy comes from the solar panels, even when it was very cold, like 40 degrees below zero, it's still warm in his house because in Robin's house, the whole house actually uses a little energy, and the whole day is actually the house consumes actually 120 watts, and that equals to the energy when you turn on one light bulb. I was very shocked and feel really amazing when I see this part. So generally speaking, this video, which is 2 minutes and 50 seconds long, the linguistical level is not very difficult. There are simple sentences, and the speech speed is generally slow. So it will be, I think, maybe for my students who are freshmen, it will be intermediate level. And the topic is also very in. Since we know that in the G20 summit held in the previous month, we also mentioned a lot of the green finance. I think this also covers this kind of topic, eco-friendly. So based on the analysis, I will design my learning objectives in the following three parts. Part 1, well, I will summarize them as KSA. K is knowledge. Hopefully, students will learn some items in talking about eco-friendly and also learn some patterns to talk about how to solve the problem. And in skills part, students will listen for both problem solution and comparison. In the speaking skills, in terms of speaking skills, students will also learn some patterns for problem and solution. And in the A, which is awareness, it is actually, I think it's very important here because students, it's really important to raise the young generation the awareness of using eco-friendly when they're young, okay? And hopefully based on the learning project on the learning objectives, students will be able to develop a kind of multi-intelligence that was proposed by Gardner. That is, I think after my class, their linguistic intelligence will be hopefully will be developed, and their audiovisual intelligence and also their natural intelligence. Okay, that involves the involves the natural resources, and based on the discussion and also their reflection, hopefully their interpersonal intelligence and interpersonal intelligence will all be developed. Okay, so now comes to my learning procedures. I will divide them into 4 episodes. I will call them episode. Episode 1 is the engage part. Hopefully, it will turn off students' affective filter and activate their prior knowledge, and also to give them some background vocabulary. I'll start my class with a survey asking them 3 questions. Question 1, how many of you check your utility bill, especially how much you pay for your electricity every month? Question 2, how many of you unplug? This may be the word they need to know. The home appliances when you sleep. And number 3, how many of you ever use the solar panels in your house? So students may get to know the new words like unplug and solar panel. In episode 2, I will focus on the strategy training and hopefully will help them to develop their autonomous learning. So in the first listening is listen to comprehend. Students will just focus on the story of Cohen's house and then get the problem and the solution part. In part 2, that is the listen to notice. This time they will compare Cohen's house and Robin's house, and this time they will take notes in a T chart. So hopefully after this listen to notice, students will listen to learn that there is a certain listening strategy to help them to be more organized while listening. So that is episode 2. Learning episode 3 will be to activate their knowledge to ensure the language recycle. I think it's very important. So this is also the speaking part. I will again carry out a group survey. This time, I will divide students into groups of 5. One student will be the question master, and they will ask the questions I asked them just now. And student number 2 will be the problem solver, will give the solutions, and students 3, 4, and 5 will be the interviewees to give the answers. Of course, this time I will scaffold them with some patterns for talking about problem solution and also patterns like how to express personal ideas. I don't want them to use I think all the time. And also when they are talking, I will be their guide, and after their group presentation, I will try to summarize. Firstly, I will encourage them to tell them what you have done really good, and then I will summarize some of the either errors or mistakes. I will try to point them out. And so this is episode 3. Episode 4 will be the assignment. Hopefully, after the class, they will, based on their in-class discussion, they will write a report, and their report will be will focus on the 3 parts like introduction of the problem, their result, and also their reflection. And this is assignment number 1. Assignment number 2, they're going to watch another video of how wind power in the northern part of China help to save energy for the industrial companies. Okay, and after the video, in the next flipped class, hopefully they will just to give the presentations, okay, based on what they have learned. In this class, they will give presentations, and their presentation will be judged based on their fluency, accuracy, and also their presentational skills. So that is the first 3 parts I want to mention. The last part, I think it is also very important for me, both as a language teacher and also a lifelong learner. That is the reflection part. There is a sentence that we cannot teach the current students with the knowledge from yesterday to face the challenge tomorrow. So I think it's really important for me, firstly, to reflect after the class. Have I achieved the goals? And which part did I do good, and then I can follow, and which part is not that idealistic and which and needs improvement. So I think over time, these reflections, which I'll keep into journals, will be very valuable resources for my research in the future. Thank you. That is my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Professor Wang.
You mentioned that this material is organized in the order of the problem and solution.
Yes.
Okay. In what other way can you see how the material is structured? So in addition to this problem solution, can you find any other pattern of organization in terms of the overall organization or in terms of how the information is organized in particular parts of the material?
Thank you very much for your question. I think the overall structure of this video course is actually the comparison, because basically it's the two stories. One story is Cohen's house and the other is Robin's house. That's the general picture. And so the problem presentation and problem solution part I mentioned is actually the first major part of the video. So that's the general structure. I think there are also some detailed structures mentioned, that like the comparison sentences. I think especially in the Robin's part, they mentioned that Robin's house actually consumes little energy because the whole energy they consume in their house is actually equals to the energy you turn on one light bulb. I think this is a detailed structure of the video course. Yes.
If you say it follows the comparison, so in what way are the two homes similar, or in what way they are different? In addition to the fact that you pointed out that the latter's home uses less electricity. In addition to that, do you find anything similar, if you think it follows a comparison pattern?
Thank you for your question. Well, maybe the word comparison is not quite precise, but I do find some similarities. Both of the houses are kind of not in the downtown of the city. Mm-hmm. One is in the suburb, and the other is kind of a remote area. So this is a really trivial similarity, maybe. Yeah. So I think maybe I will focus on the word contrast is better.
Okay.
Or, yeah.
It's all right. It's
yeah.
all right.
Thank you.
About the your teaching design,
yes.
And you declared that one of your objectives was to develop students' multiple intelligence.
Yes.
Can you choose two of the steps that you wanted to embed into the teaching to illustrate how these two steps were designed to develop certain aspects, to address certain aspects of students' multiple intelligence?
Thank you very much for your question. I think, firstly, well, let's start with the interpersonal intelligence. I think in group discussion, or here I have organized it in a way of actually a group survey, and I have also assigned students with different roles. So they will inevitably have to talk, and this is a way for them to practice their interpersonal communicative skills. So this is hopefully that can develop their interpersonal skill. And for interpersonal intelligence, for the interpersonal here, I think is embedded in the after class part, episode 4, that is the assignment. After class, maybe I didn't take it very detailedly just now. After class, actually, first assignment is to write a report. So this report, I don't want them to write in groups. I want them to do that to do an individual job. And this time, I asked them to include the introduction, the analysis, and the reflection. I think this is I think this can be a chance for them to develop their interpersonal intelligence. And also, when they do the, for example, listen to notice, they have to, in the listen to notice part, they compare the two houses, and then they have to take down some keywords like unplug or solar panel. These words are kind of also linguistic items. So if my understanding is right, I think it can develop students' linguistic intelligence.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.